All right, so I think we are. Gonna go live yet, order? Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so we're live on my drug and alcohol attorney's page. Let me just.
Drug and alcohol attorney.
Because then I can share it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it's not. Oh, here we are. We are live. Okay, I'm gonna share it to my page.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, we're gonna get a bit of feedback. Is that me or you?
That's probably me. Is it okay now?
Yeah. So you're gonna need to basically not watch yourself on Facebook, or you'll get completely confused.
Okay, no, I'm not watching. It's just me and you right now.
All right. So we are live, and
Awesome.
I'm very excited. I got my good friend Deanna Muniz. I tried to pronounce that as well best I could, and
Muniz, you did great.
Muniz. And so this is we're back live here with the Drug and Alcohol Tony's Facebook Live show, and Deanna, I'm so happy that you decided to come on the show. I've been very excited to have you on the show for a while.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad we worked it out with our schedules.
Yeah. Deanna is one of the wonderful people that I work with in the treatment industry. So, I've been telling people, how, people say, well, what's it like? Isn't it stressful dealing with, those people who are addicts and mental illness? And I'm like, you don't understand. The treatment industry is full of amazing people who have experienced tremendous personal growth.
Right.
And not, I don't know if fun's the right word, but it's such a privilege and a pleasure to work in this industry because there's just so many really cool people, right? I mean, and you're one of them. And I've had people like you and, a number of other sort of local people on the show because they have such a great story. And I think that
Thank you.
People hear yours, they'll be like, they'll be blown away. I mean, I learned things about you in the last 45 minutes before we came out that I just didn't know about you. And I'm like,
yeah, you need another segment for that.
Yeah, we literally could have a whole segment on just that and just your journey. So I'm really excited to have you on the show, and you have a great story, and wow, you're such a wonderful person, and it's almost a small miracle that you're with us, right? I mean, it really is in so many ways. So we're gonna get into that. So
awesome.
Where are you right now? Where are you live? You're here in South Florida, right?
So yeah, I live in Royal Palm Beach, Florida. I've been here for about a little over a year and a half. I was living in Broward, so most of my connections are Broward.
Okay.
But I'm in West Palm now.
Okay, and so how do you like Palm Beach County as opposed to Broward?
I like it. I do like it. I like that the traffic is a lot better.
It is better up here, right?
Yeah, it's really quiet over here. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. It is a different planet. But my heart is still connected to Broward, so it's kind of difficult, Okay. A lot of my blood, sweat, and tears is in Broward. And I mean, literally on the sidewalks.
Literally on the sidewalks.
Literally.
So let's go back a little in time because I'm going to shut my phone off and I'll tell you why. Every time, the last 2 weeks I've done the show, my mother has called and I sort of vowed that if she did it again, I was going to actually take the call. And I told her I was going to call. So she knows we're going to dinner tonight.
I am sorry, Mom. And I'm going to make sure he makes it to dinner.
Yeah, I already told her that I said, look, I'm on a show with Deanna tonight till 6. I'll see you at 6:30 for dinner. So anyway, all right, back to you. So where'd you grow up?
I was born in Miami, Florida. So I'm a Floridian. I grew up until about 1990, until I was about 10 years old, in between Florida, Texas, and New Jersey. And then we moved back to Florida in 1990, around 90.
Okay, so who's the we? Tell us a little bit about your, family background.
So my mother has 5 children. My mother was married to her high school sweetheart, basically, and had 3 children. They were divorcing, and he was in the military. So my 2 older sisters were taken from him and brought to Germany. And my mother didn't know. And there's a lot of, story behind that, but basically, long story short, they weren't in my lives until we got reunited later on. So my half brother was raised with me and my twin sister. So my father, she got married to my father. met in Miami. And so my father helped raise my half brother and me and my twin sister. And then later on, we got reunited with my two older sisters when they got back from the States.
Okay. So what was it like, growing up as a child? What was life like? What were your parents like?
You know, there's a lot of good, and then there was a lot of confusion too. So my parents were great. When I was young, it was very happy. There was a lot of music. There was a lot of, fun times until the fun times stopped. I would say probably I started to see some things happen that were not happening in other people's homes or my friends' homes, probably around the age of 9. I didn't realize that I was being raised by addicts and alcoholics. I just knew what I knew as a kid. So,
That's so normal.
right. It just, there was a lot of verbal abuse going on. There was a lot of physical things going on around the house, a lot of confusing things. So I essentially had to become really my own teddy bear. I had to really console myself in a very confusing time. There was a lot of fighting and arguing, which led to a divorce eventually with my parents. When that divorce started to happen, that's when both of their addictions kind of took over them completely. And so essentially
What does that mean when you say it took over them completely? Tell us what that's like. Because I mean, the people who are watching who are in recovery, they probably would understand.
right.
People who are on the outside, and I see this a lot of the time on Facebook when I see posts that seem to be made out of ignorance, and they say, and it's almost like you've done something intentional, like you wanted to become an addict, and
Right.
and obviously working in the industry, I find those comments hurt me, so
Right.
maybe explain that, because I think
Okay.
because there is a stigma with the whole issue of recovery and
Absolutely.
addiction. It's getting better, but it's a work in
Absolutely.
progress. So maybe explain that to us.
So my father, we were middle class. My father made very good money. He was a carpenter and he did everything custom. And so he had a job. He did move around a lot with jobs. But my mother, she went back to school when we were in New Jersey. I rarely saw my mom drink until around New Jersey. And come to find out later on, she was having anxiety. And she got diagnosed with anxiety disorder, but she didn't know what it was. And they were doing studies. This was in New Jersey. I was about 9 years old. So I want to say this is probably around 1988, 1989. They were doing studies on anxiety. And a new drug came out called Xanax. And so she became a part of the study. And that's when her Xanax story really began, was becoming a study for anxiety, and she started Xanax. Later on, Xanax and alcohol got introduced, and that became an issue for my mother. So initially, my mother was a great mother. She cooked, she cleaned, she worked. She was an amazing mother. And then she was having some issues with anxiety, got introduced to Xanax, and then found I can take a pill and it'll go away.